This is a debrief of day 51 of my GMAT Prep. I am exactly 2 days away from taking my final GMAT exam. In this video, I will share my performance and learnings from taking the official GMAT practice exam number 6 from MBA.com. This is the last practice exam I am going to take before the final test. If you have been following me, you know that this is my second attempt on this practice exam. I previously took this exam on day 46 of my GMAT Prep and scored 715, which is a 99th percentile score. With that benchmark in mind, let me now talk about how I did today. My score on this practice exam today was 745, which is a 100th percentile score. My section-wise scores in percentile terms were 94th percentile on the quant section, 100th percentile on the verbal section, and 99th percentile on the data insight section. My overall score on this practice exam went up, which is a good sign. Since this is my last practice exam, I should also call out the trend on the 8 practice exams I have taken over the last few days. My overall scores have ranged between the 98th and 100th percentiles with a leaning towards the higher side. I have said this dozens of times before. The official GMAT practice exams are really the only reliable indicator of your final GMAT score. Practice exams provided by other organizations do not even come close to reflecting your GMAT potential properly. So given my score trend, I am feeling relatively confident in my ability to meet my goal of equaling or beating my previous 99th percentile score on the GMAT. On a great day, I might manage to hit the 100th percentile as well. But I want to protect my downside and ensure that I hit the 99th percentile at minimum. With that said, let's look at my performance on each section of the practice exam today. On the quant section, I answered 2 questions incorrectly. With question 18, I came close to solving it but made an error towards the end. I had to skip this question initially and was only able to get close to the solution on my second attempt. On a good day, I would have been able to answer this question in a single attempt itself. On question 19, I gave in to a trap which was hard to spot, particularly because I was also running out of time. This question described a quantity as a non-negative constant, and I made the mistake of treating it as a non-negative variable. Once again, with a minute extra, I think I would have answered this question correctly. Unfortunately, these 2 mistakes continue the trend which I have seen on the quant section recently. It has been incredibly hard for me to answer all questions right within this section in the given time frame. My mistakes have been the result of performance volatility and not conceptual weakness. That makes them hard to control. Hopefully, I will have one of my good days on the final day of the GMAT exam as far as the quant section is concerned. On the verbal section, I answered only 1 question incorrectly today. That was a critical reasoning question. The mistake was the result of not being able to process all information clearly during the practice exam. I was able to answer this question right when I re-attempted it after the exam. On the data insight section, the biggest positive was that I was able to allocate sufficient time to all the 20 questions. That continues to demonstrate that my time management approach on this section is working as intended. I answered 2 questions incorrectly, even though I spent between 2 to 5 minutes on each of these questions. I could have answered question 12 correctly if I had a minute extra. There is little I can do to control mistakes such as this other than to continue pushing on velocity and hoping that I'm able to make the right judgments on the trade-off between velocity and accuracy during the exam. Question 19 was complicated enough that I don't think I would have been able to answer it right even with infinite time on hand. I was unable to get this right on re-attempt even without a time constraint. While I answered question 6 correctly, part of my answer was a guess and I just got lucky with it. If I had not gotten lucky on this question, it is likely that I would have ended up with a 99 percentile score on this practice exam overall. That just demonstrates the fact that while you can do your best to maximize your score on the exam, the difference of 1 percentile up or down is typically made by luck. Luck can manifest in various forms, which includes how well the content of the test questions match with your thought patterns and what percentage of your guesses turn out to be correct. One learning which I did have from the data insight section today is that I should proactively plan to use more space with the multi-source reasoning question type. Because of the volume of information on this question type, you will inevitably find that you need to do a lot of scratch work, and hence planning for space proactively will help. Let me conclude this video by mentioning that my final GMAT exam is scheduled for the day after tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Tomorrow, my plan is to spend time just reviewing my notes from the 50 or so days of GMAT prep which I have put in. Generally, I recommend that you take it easy on the day before your final GMAT exam, just so you can recharge a little bit. You can solve a few questions here and there if you want, but avoid taking a practice exam if possible. Alright, so that marks the end of my GMAT prep journey. The next video will be my last video in this series. In that video, I will talk about what my final GMAT score turned out to be and share commentary on the positives and negatives of my test experience. Remember to hit like, subscribe and bell. I will see you in the next video.